If the election were today, Frank, would you vote for Donald Trump?
No way.
Couldn't happen.
No.
Oh, that's no problem. Just make sure you change your selection for the February recall election. What the hell is you talking about? Hi, I'm Reese Waters, and this is Who Raised Y'all, where we highlight those unique individuals going above and beyond to make our society worse.
Did you hear about the 200-foot Jesus statue that Trump had delivered and set at the White House? It has Jesus standing there with outstretched arms. He said, "God saved me so that I could make America great again and save America." I believe that as well.
You know, the kinds of people you'll see asking to speak to the manager at the pearly gates.
I want to talk to the manager.
Now, even though it's only February, we've seen a lot of FAFO moments. Like a lot. It's almost like y'all don't understand basic logic. Which, that would actually explain a lot. We have seen the Latinos for Trump.
More than betrayed. Beyond betrayed. They used us.
We have seen Black Maga.
They don't know anything about what the requirements are. They don't know how long that person has been in service. Donald Trump appealing to these people in his second week when we're not talking about the economy. We're not talking about any of that. We're talking about DEI, and he had no evidence, and people are out there defending it. I'm not going to get on television to defend it. I want Donald Trump to know you are making it hard for us.
We have seen white women, or as they're more commonly referred to in our legislative body, DEI.
White women, you are the biggest beneficiaries of corporate DEI and affirmative action programs.
Okay, so this is hilarious. I just saw this white lady on here complaining that she just lost her job because she was hired under the diversity, equity, and inclusion program at her work. And you can see she didn't want to say it, but she really wanted to be like, but I'm not black.
There are the people who voted with their wallet. You know, the people who voted on the economy.
Hey, Donald Trump, egg prices are up 37%. Don't trust me. Trust the Fox News channel. They say 37%. I just went to my local store. Egg prices are up to $4 a dozen eggs now. That was moments ago. I'm not impressed. So here's the thing I'm a little confused about. I was told that within 24 hours of Donald Trump being president, prices were going to go down. Inflation would be beat. Except prices just went up 37%. $4 for eggs, right? Everyone was going to come along. Trump promised us.
Oh, and then there's everybody else. And not to be forgotten, there's the people who love and appreciate democracy.
All of the undocumented migrant workers who support our agriculture system, the result isn't just going to be that food's going to be more expensive. It's that food's not going to be as available. When farmers can't find people to harvest their crop, oftentimes their crop just doesn't go harvested. It rots in the field. So we've gotten used to having abundant food, available food. We're going to have to get used to some limitations if the plans of this administration go forward.
Tons of food stored away at ports across the country could now go to waste following the shutdown of USAID.
Yeah, the government agency relied on the Port of Houston, among others, to send vital food aid to people in need overseas.
Victor Jacobo joins us live from Pasadena to explain why this is happening. Victor.
Yeah, that's right. President Trump putting a halt on foreign aid. That includes food that is sent through USAID to international destinations that need that aid. We learned today that farmers from Texas send their wheat down to ports here in the Houston area. We get rice from Louisiana and other crops from other states as well as part of that program. Now the short-term and long-term future of that program and those who benefit from it is now in limbo. On social media, President Donald Trump alleging unspecified corruption at USAID and calling to close it down. He added more during comments at the White House today.
When you look at USAID, that's a fraud. The whole thing is a fraud.
But today, I'm here for a very special group.
But some folks who aren't feeling Trump's optimism right now are American farmers, and they are stuck in the middle of all of this.
Frank, who did you vote for president?
Mr. Trump.
Right?
Trump. Mr. Trump.
If the election were today, Frank, would you vote for Donald Trump?
No way. Couldn't happen.
No.
Oh, that's no problem. Just make sure you change your selection for the February recall election. Yeah, we got the February recall. If you make the wrong selection in November of the election that we do every 4 years, based on information which you should have known before you made that selection, but you now know and find out after the election, then you can go ahead and what the hell is you talking about?
You voted for President Trump. So now, in this moment, you say you're in a free fall. What is your message to him?
So I'm off the Trump train. Where I'm going for now is I got to protect my business.
Island, a wheat farmer who says he's lost $400,000 since Trump took office.
I think there was a lot of people who voted for him that want to stay loyal to him, but it's going to get to the point where financially, if it's between supporting the president or losing your family farm.
You voted for the president?
Yes, I did.
And do you support these policies which might be hurting farmers like you?
Right now, we're the ones that are taking the hit.
I think he's sort of backstabbing the main people who got him into office in the Midwest, and he just left us down.
Now, a couple things that were brought up in that particular video. People wanting to stay loyal to him and saying that he has turned his back on the people that got him into office. So you want to stay loyal to the man because you had no way of knowing that this would befall you if you were to support Donald Trump and his policies. Is that what we're going with?
Since the election, everyone has reminded me that I thought Kamala Harris was going to win. Everyone has reminded me that she didn't win and Donald Trump won. I've seen it over and over and over again. But what I also said was if Donald Trump did win, it would be a disaster for farmers and oil workers. Because the last time Donald Trump was president, it was a disaster for farmers and oil workers. Now, he really hasn't gotten to oil workers yet.
Hey, oil workers. Yeah, if I was you, I would try and find a safety net. Why don't you go ahead and try and transition into Doge? Before he gets to you, I would try and transition into Doge because y'all look qualified to be in Doge. Now, I could tell from here. Yeah, I could tell from here y'all look qualified to be in Doge.
But hey, farmers, how you doing? Yeah, you see, the last time Donald Trump was president, over 100,000 farms went belly up in America. So here he runs for president again, and what do you farmers do? Yeah, you vote for him again. And I don't understand why, but it's one of those cases where you effed around and now you're going to find out again. Because apparently he didn't do enough damage the first time. You wanted to see it a second time. So here we are.
It's like my mom always said, a hard head makes a soft Maga.
I wanted to start off by saying I did vote for Donald Trump. We are possibly going to lose our farm if NRCS doesn't hold up their contract with us on the EQIP program. So the reason that they're not able to hold up the contract is our EQIP program, which is cost sharing on fences, waters, a well, and some seedings, was funded by the Inflation Reduction Act. Because of the executive orders, there's a pause or a freeze on the funding through the Inflation Reduction Act, and they're not able to pay out on the stuff that we completed or anything going forward.
Now that rings a bell. The Inflation Reduction Act, huh? Now would that happen to be the same policy that Trump and Maga were using as a weapon to attack Kamala Harris and the Democrats over the prices of everyday goods, despite the fact that we had the best COVID recovery in the developed world? They still use that as a lever to try and motivate their base. Would that be the Inflation Reduction Act that you're talking about? Okay, so what you mean to tell me is the thing that they were denouncing was the same thing that you needed for your subsidies for your farm?
Yes.
And that's where you decided to go?
Yes! I'm not the only one this is affecting. So there are other farmers in the comments saying that they're in the same boat that I'm in because they signed these contracts, and the contracts, even like, so whenever I looked into the contract, I made sure that that funding was set aside. It wasn't funding that, oh, we hope it's there whenever it's done. I made sure that that funding was set aside so that way before I made these business decisions, I knew that funding was there per contract. So they're backing out on the contract because they don't have the funding. They can't release the funds.
Don't y'all think I'm a bad businessman, okay? I made sure that they had the funds, okay, before I signed the contract. I don't just sign no contracts willy-nilly. I do my research. I make good business decisions. I make sure that they had that money. Huh? No, I hadn't gotten the money yet, but I just made sure that they had the money. And then I voted for the guy who wanted to eliminate that program. Yeah. Who also don't pay his bills. I'm a good businessman.
Did you guys talk at all about how the federal funding freeze is going to impact farmers in West Tennessee? Do you have any concerns about that? Is the Ag Committee going to cover that at all? With soybeans being the #1 crop, especially in West Tennessee where you're from. Are you worried about that at all? What Elon Musk and Trump are doing to farmers in Tennessee?
You can come on with me, Canoe.
Did you guys talk about that at all?
Canoe, you can come on. Excuse me.
Did you guys talk about that at all?
No, it's a members only.
I'll let him go.
Okay.
It's members only. He doesn't want to talk. People need to see that he doesn't want to talk. Are you going to actually deal with issues that impact your people, Chris?
Shout out to Tennessee Holler for that clip, but the MVP was Congressman Justin Jones. Y'all, you see the instigating? You see the instigating? He's not allowed in here. No, he good. He good. Now he with me. He with me. Go ahead, come on, get in the elevator. No, that's my cousin. That's my cousin. No, that's my cousin on my father's side. Yeah, twice removed. Yeah, we grew up together. Yeah, we used to play throwback tackle and everything. Yeah, no, he's my cousin on my father's side, twice removed. Yeah, we don't look alike because he was a wild boy. Yeah, his pappy was for the streets.
Bang, 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 bang. Last night I watched video after video of farmers who might lose their farms because the government is reneging on contracts they wrote with these farmers. Hi guys, my name's Will, your favorite rural campaign and elections expert, and let's talk about it. Now the problem is President Trump's order to freeze most federal grants and loans has created a panic and uncertainty within the agricultural sector, which relies on billions of dollars in direct government assistance for loans, disaster relief, and conservation practices, many of which have been around since the days of FDR, and farmers have begun to rely on them. Now, if you've watched the news at all, you know that a federal judge blocked the order on Tuesday. The problem is, and what the media isn't telling you, is that farmers and ranchers over the last week to 10 days have begun to receive letters telling them that the government may not be able to live up to the promises they made in these signed contracts with farmers and ranchers to improve conservation and increase productivity on the farm. Sadly, I watched one cattle farmer video last night in the state of Missouri where he said that he's going to fall $80,000 short in funding because the government promised him that if he and his family invested in good conservation practices, they would support his efforts with grants and loans. He received a letter in the past 10 days telling him that they couldn't keep their promise even though they have a signed contract. And as a direct result, he's going to fall $80,000 short on his spring loan payment. And the only option he has right now is to sell his cattle. And he needs those cattle because those cattle are going to have calves, and he needs those calves to pay his fall payment. It's a no-win situation, and it's not his fault. My friends, this is the problem with electing a president that knows nothing about agriculture and placing people at the Department of Agriculture whose only understanding of growing crops and raising livestock is what they learned in a YouTube video on the plane on their way to Washington, D.C. To give you an example of the size of the problem, farmers received more than $10.5 billion in direct government payments in 2024, nearly half of which came from conservation programs, and that figure doesn't include federal crop insurance, which accounted for over $19 billion just in 2022 alone. And the consequences not only impact a farmer's ability to pay his loans, they also run the risk of costing farmers the land itself.
So despite their very aggressive efforts to shrink the government, despite the fact that they have not only denounced the Inflation Reduction Act, but also all manner of conservation efforts, despite that we're pulling up on double-digit bankruptcies because somebody don't pay his bills, Trump overwhelmingly took rural America. But that's not their fault.
I might lose my farm because of the government.
Yeah, that's right. You're gonna have to name names. Ain't no cuz of the government.
So, NRCS, conservation planning. So they had a program out there called the EQIP program.
And make sure you tell them which president gave you EQIP, because EQIP is the Environmental Quality Incentives Program, right? Which is under the Inflation Reduction Act. The Inflation Reduction Act, Joe Biden signed, right, gave EQIP $8 billion. And make sure you also say what president is trying to get rid of that, right?
I tell you this, these women ain't no good. That's what I tell my son. These women ain't no good. Well, my first wife was good because she worked and supported me while I went through school. So she really supported me getting my degree. And then she decided to stay at home with the family and maintain the family unit, while I work and gave me all the time and hours that I needed to advance my career. And she was always there. She was like a good listening ear for me, yeah. But no, I left her. But my second wife, now she was vicious. She was stepping out on me for the moment we said I do. Then tried to take me to court to get half. I'm telling you, women ain't no good.
And what the EQIP program is it's cost sharing on stuff like fencing, different seedings, water lines, waters, wells, and stuff like that to better conserve farmland for agricultural use.
And you know what's crazy? The Inflation Reduction Act didn't have any Republican support. It actually required Kamala Harris to be the tie-breaking vote in the Senate because it was 50-50. So to say Republicans care about the working class more than Democrats, fucking crazy.
Well, that's actually consistent. That is actually consistent because they were railing against the Inflation Reduction Act the whole time on the campaign trail. They were very loud in their opposition to the Inflation Reduction Act. So naturally, that was something that you relied on. You knew what time it was before the election.
Yes! So, I thought it was a great program. We got a contract with them for $240,000. So we signed a contract with them for $240,000, and we have bought different types of material. We've gotten paid out on some of it, but I now have $80,000 worth of material and signed contracts for labor that are going to install the water lines in the upcoming few weeks and months. And with that being said, they called me today and said, hey, I know we have this signed contract. We're reneging on it. We're not going to pay out on it.
I could understand that because you went into business with Biden. You went into business with Biden, and then Trump came and took over with his record. And so I could understand being frustrated. Oh no, you wanted Trump to take over, didn't you? You see how many contractors waiting to get paid? Okay. So you wanted to be in that line then?
It's almost like Democrat policies actually benefit you more than Republican ones. You were participating in a program that only existed because of Democrats, and then now you're upset that a Republican took it away. You voted for that, love.
What do you mean you're not going to pay out on it?
Well, you voted for someone that has over $1 million in campaign loans since 2016. Someone who bankrupted majority of his businesses. What the fuck did you expect?
So I've got all this stuff bought, and whenever I install it, you're not going to pay out. We had this contract. I made business decisions based on this contract. So now I have $80,000 out of my pocket that I didn't have to spend. So the $80,000 that we have is supposed to go to our farm loan in the fall. If we don't have that money, that's our hay money, that's our farm money, our farm payment money. If we don't have that money, we will lose this farm. And the only way that I can think to get around it is we sell some cows. And if I sell cows now to make the payment, to make that payment, I'm not going to be able to make the payment in the fall because the cows are calculated in my payment in the fall. So because I got in bed with the government.
See, and this is why we say it's a cult, because the misplaced fucking anger. It's not because you got in bed with the government. It's because you voted for someone that did not give a fuck about you. That's what it is, love. You voted for someone that had daddy's money handed down to him, yet he doesn't like anybody else getting any type of resources.
No, he's not getting off that easy. Let's just try and capture the MAGA mindset. So you, reliant upon specific government programs that he railed against, knowing the carnage that emerged during his last administration and the ways in which the Biden administration tried to mitigate that damage, knowing all of that, you decided to support Donald Trump. Then when it goes the way that supporting Donald Trump goes, you want to blame the government. It might be a long time before they come around. Honestly, it might be a minute.
I spent money based on a contract that we signed. They're reneging on it. I'm just screwed. And unless they lift this pause on payment, I'm going to lose this farm.
Or if you would have listened to the people that were trying to tell you about Project 2025, this was coming, love. This was coming. If Trump wanted to get rid of the Inflation Reduction Act, and this is a program of that, what the fuck were you expecting, love?
So they have told me that the best thing that they can tell me is get in touch with the congressmen and congresswomen and see if I can get something done about this. So I've reached out to Ann Wagner's office. That's the congresswoman of Missouri. I'm hoping that something comes out of that, but I don't have very high hopes of it. Hopefully,
it's almost like this is why we should pay attention to elections, not only the general elections, but the fucking primary, so you can see the people that are going to represent you, what the fuck their beliefs are, and if they're actually going to care about you. Because it seems as if, though, the people you vote for don't give a fuck about you.
This is a temporary ban on payment of that, but I don't understand how you can sign a contract and then just renege on that contract. I do not understand that at all.
I also don't understand how you could sign a contract and just renege on that contract. Then they changed the age of Social Security. Yeah, the thing they've been taking out your check with the understanding you could get it at a certain age, and they just changed the age after your money then got taken away. Once that happened, eyes were open. That'd be like me buying a pack of Now and Laters for 50 cents. I give him $1 and he just gives me a dime back. I'm like, where's the rest of my change? Yeah, see, the price changed. The price changed in between the time that you decided to buy this for 50 cents and me deciding to just give you a dime back. Sometime in between that, price change.
Well, that's what happens when you vote for someone who is going to deconstruct our government. So, you voted for it. You just thought it was not going to affect you.
Message! So remember that part about it might be a while before Maga comes around?
Do not look into government programs, because everybody told me I've been waiting for payment for a long time. You're going to get screwed. And I was like, no, it's a contract. They can't do that. And sure as shit, here we are.
He lands this by saying, do not look into government programs. But had you looked into government programs, namely the ones that you were currently engaged in, had you looked into government programs, you wouldn't be in this situation, now would you?
So don't look into government programs if you're going to vote to remove them, love. What?
See, if my first wife would have held me down a year longer, okay, during my cheating, if she would have held me down a year longer while I was cheating, then I would have been able to get tenure. You know what I mean? And then I wouldn't be in the situation that I'm in today, where my second wife has took half, and my half has dwindled all the way down. But if the first wife would have just held me down a little while longer, then the half that the second wife took, my half would have been a little bit more, and I would be in a better situation today. Hey, good people, can you believe that we are closing fast on 2,000 members? I know, and we just celebrated 1,000 like a week ago. It turns out they really like my internal monologues. The right wing always complain about being canceled, but they don't ever go nowhere. Well, if you would like to join, there is a link to membership in the description to all of my videos. And of course, we'll have celebrations when we hit 2K and other members only lives coming up soon. So make sure you turn on your notifications and be on the lookout for those. Speaking of growth, I was blown away when I went to my second channel, Way of Waters, and saw how many of you guys have found your way over to my other channel where I am now posting content. I do want to say I greatly appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. And by the way, Way of Waters is kind of where I look for healthier ways to deal with our world than the jokes and yelling that I do over on this particular channel. That literally is the point. That literally is the point. Do you even, y'all, who edited this? And while we're on the topic of jokes and yelling, if you want to find out about all things Reese Waters, make sure you sign up for my newsletter, which you can do at my website, reesewaters.com, or you can send me an email at admin@reesewaters.com. And if I haven't said it recently, I need you to know I really appreciate you.